Some had their masks here, some had their masks here, some had their masks. Like it was like eyewear, mouthwear, jawwear. Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today's video is not about career tips. This is legit my first random video, so please come back later if you're here for career tips. My next video will be on career tips, I promise. I just really wanted to share my experience coming from Nigeria to Accra, Ghana, and I found it very interesting. So if you want to hear more, you should definitely stick around. So let me start from Niger. Just getting to Nigerian International Airport. We got there and the queue was insane. Like, where is everyone going to? Like, I know I shouldn't be asking because where am I going to? You two, where did you leave your house, right? But the queue was insane, and I had my baby because it's me, my husband, and my son. And I'm just like, am I really going to queue up with my kid? We had like two luggages, like one big box and a small hand luggage that we eventually checked in. But then we had like all these other bags for like diaper bags, like 2 diaper bags, because Ethan kind of eats a lot. Like, I'm looking down here because he's just sleeping right now, and I hope that I don't get to disturb him. Anyway, so we get to the airport. It was chaos. It was madness. I felt like, actually, it felt like there is no pandemic. Like, Nigeria is not in this world. Like, we don't know that there is a pandemic. There's no COVID. Outside of the fact that people were wearing their masks, like, quite all right. Some had their masks here, some had their masks here, some had their masks. Like, it was like eyewear, mouthwear, jawwear, yeah, all of that. Anyways, I eventually had to speak to someone like, hey, I have a baby. I don't think that I should be queuing up for this long. My husband can do the queuing. Actually, I didn't even say that much. I literally just said to him, hey, I can't queue up with my baby. It doesn't make sense under the sun. It's not even healthy for him. And then he took it upon himself. I just want to give him a quick shout out. I'm not going to mention his name, but he was an angel. So what we did was, he literally begged one of the security officers at the door to let me in. And I didn't imagine that he had to beg that long. Like, I was standing for 10 minutes before this guy actually let me in. Something about his supervisor. I was like, I'm carrying a baby. I'm not even trying to bypass, because my husband was going to do the needful. He was going to go join the queue anyways. So I just needed to sit and wait for my husband, right? So I wasn't trying to jump the queue or anything like that. I would never. But he took so long. It was an argument even. I was just standing in the sun waiting for some positive feedback. And eventually they let me in. Thank you, thank God, right? And then this angel of a man decided to also beg some other lady who had, she was customer service in the airport, I think, for some waiting area where not just random people, I don't even know what that waiting area is for. Maybe sick people, people who are not able to like move around on their own. And she gracefully let me in. So I sat there for 2 hours, I think, waiting for my husband. So the good thing was that we got to the airport really early. Like, we left the house like 5, so pretty much got to the airport like 5:30-ish or 5:33, and our flight was for 8:40. So we didn't want to get there late because, one, Lagos traffic, you really can't predict the roads. So it's better that you just leave your house really early. I mean, if you live in Lagos, like, you know what I mean. And if you're ever going to visit Lagos and you have the flight to catch, ensure you leave at least 2 hours prior. Like, make sure you leave that early, because even if Google Maps, you know, says that there is no traffic, something can happen. A fight can just bust out. This is Lagos. Anything can happen. So we decided to leave really early just to make sure that we, you know, got in right on time, regardless of any mishaps, you know, that could, you know, happen, right? Now, my husband was on that queue. He literally was like the 100, I don't know, how many people would you say, love? Like, he says that, right? He said 950. But there are a lot of people on that queue. For me to have sat down, like, blood was no longer flowing through my legs. Luckily, Ethan was asleep for the most part. And then eventually my husband finally gets in. Then we had to hustle through just basically checking in our luggage and whatnot. And immigration folks just decided to take their time and ask for money. Oh, auntie, as you find like there's nothing for me, nothing for us. And I'm like, even look my son and say, madam, you've been standing, pity me, let me go. Like, yo, I don't have money for you. I'm not giving anybody money. The only person I gave money, which was just from the kindness of my heart, because I usually don't give, like, I don't want to encourage corruption in that way. So you have to have done something for me, not your work. Like, if you're doing your job, which is just stamping on my passport, like, why am I giving you money? You're getting paid whatever salary you're getting paid. Like, don't, or you're checking my passport just to let me pass through, and you expect me to give you money. Like, why? So I'm not going to indulge in any of that. So the other person I gave money was the lady at the airline counter. Like, she basically helped me fill out all our the yellow card. What is that card? The immigration form that you fill when you're going out of the country. Yes, so she helped fill all of that. She and some other guy helped fill, because I was carrying my baby. My husband had gone to change money, so I was literally alone, and my hands were full. Like, I had my handbag, which was a big bag, and then I also had like 2 diaper bags. So I was just like this, yeah. So they helped me. They didn't have to. So, and the good thing was that there was no queue, so it felt right that I just appreciated them in some form. And I don't consider that like corruption. It's like almost I'm paying for a service, because they didn't owe me that. Literally filling out my name, my house address, and then the only thing I had to do was sign. And so I was really thankful that they even suggested it. So those were really nice people, right? Now, getting to immigration, we kept hearing that our flight was boarding. They kept announcing, flight number, this, da, 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 da. And they just kept taking their time. I don't know if it was network issues. It was just a mess. We finally boarded, basically. I want to cut the story short because I don't want this video to be too long. We eventually boarded and got to Ghana. It was supposed to be an hour flight, but for some reason, it felt like it was 35 minutes. It was such a short trip. I didn't even get to take a small nap. And Ethan was all over. Like, all over. So eventually he calmed down and slept off. That was good. And then we got off. That was okay, until we got into the Ghana, like the Accra airport. That's the Kotoka airport. I think that's what it's called, Kotoka airport. Yeah, we got into that, and the queue was insane. So that queue I was talking about in Nigeria. The only thing is that they tried a little bit to practice social distancing from the beginning, but all that went to, yeah, it didn't happen. Like, we were just like this. So you have to literally make very conscious efforts to stay away from people. It wasn't something that forcing or anything. You have to try on your own to get, some space, with yourself or by yourself. Eventually there's this health declaration form that everyone was supposed to fill online. Like, we knew about this form, we started to fill this form, but we had difficulty checking in online, so we couldn't fill the form because they're going to ask you for your seat number, and we didn't have the seat number because we couldn't check in. And with all the chaos I literally just described that happened in Nigeria, there was no way. Actually, we didn't think about it when we were in Nigerian airport, because we thought we would have a minute to sit down, open the laptop or even our phones, connect to the internet and fill. But we couldn't do that because everything was done hurriedly for the last 3 hours. Okay, anyways, everyone started to fill right there, and that was chaos because you can't move if you haven't filled that form. So even if you are like the last person to get on the queue and you so happen to have filled that form prior to getting there, you're going to move all the way to the front. So that was like, we were so livid, like, oh my god, we were actually filling this form, but because the seat numbers were not available, we couldn't complete it, and all that happened just kind of limited us from like doing any of that. Long story short, we fill the form. The process is such that you fill this form, unlike some other countries, I'm not going to mention it, unlike some other countries, they would actually confirm that you filled this form. So they all had like a tab, there's someone waiting right there. Once you confirm that, hey, filled the form, oh, what's next? Come, give me your passport number. They check, and it has to be on their database. There was no network problem. I'm giving Ghana a shout out here, like legit SO, like you guys did so good, because There was no network problem. The moment I clicked, in fact, before I clicked done, I was like, I feel it. Like, what's next? Because we were exhausted. My back was hurting. We were exchanging loads. Like, I'd carry the baby and my handbag. My husband would carry the baby later and all the diaper bags. It was just, and then he had the backpack with all our laptops in it. Well, 2 laptops. I just said all, like, we're 5 people. Well, 2 laptops, yeah. But yeah, you get me. So they literally checked and our names were there. I'm like, okay, you can go. Then I thought I was going to get if the whole, she has a baby, like, let's let her go first. I didn't get any of that. So this one is not a shout out because I didn't get that. And I was literally leaning on something like, hey, are they going to see me? Am I going to be noticed that I'm dying here? Eventually, one angel of a man came through and literally said, hey, the woman with the baby, and then my husband, myself, and my baby went all the way to the front. I didn't even know what was coming next. We just knew that we had the protocol to follow. You had to wait your turn for something. So after we were done filling the form, apparently the next thing was to go pay the $150 per head for the COVID-19 test. I legit thought that we would pay like $50. This was prior to me like actually making all these inquiries. So on getting to the counter, I asked, because anyone that knows me knows that I like to ask questions. I asked like, hey, why are we paying? I was like, oh, the new law hasn't taken effect, da, da, da. So everyone pays $150. Okay. So we pay for it, and then the next stage was another long walk down a hall. I mean, Ghana, you guys did so good with how organized this was, to be honest. Outside of the minus I'm going to give you with all the humans jam-packed together, even the officials couldn't control it. They were all trying to support, but they were very supportive. And outside of the fact that I thought I was going to play that baby card. Like, I could play that baby card early on, like, just see me with the baby. But no, that didn't happen on time until about maybe 20 minutes in, before my angel of a man came and said, forward. Anyways, it was very organized. Once you pay, you get a barcode, you move all the way down, you just keep walking. There was somebody at every point. It was so organized. You wouldn't have to ask questions, because this is like, you have ushers in like, you know how you have ushers in a wedding or a big party, and they're just at every, I mean, they did better than the ushers, to be honest. They were everywhere. You had someone at everywhere. So every point you got to, there's someone telling you, hey, this way you have your COVID test, here, this way you go down the referral hall. Like, it was just super organized, you guys. I can't even, like, that's why I had to make this video. They did so good. So there was someone everywhere, and then this lady directed us to where we would have the COVID test. COVID test, if you've ever had like the rapid test, you know how quick it is. It took like a minute and you're done, or even under a minute. So I thought typically you'd wait to, see your results, since it was rapid. They were like, oh no, keep going, like, leave, we're done with you, and in 20 minutes your test result will be out. And I'm like, how am I gonna know when the test result is out? Because of course, like I said, I like to ask questions, but they have everything figured out. So my questions were just for my own satisfaction. They basically said, don't worry, before you get to the exit gate, before you leave this airport, your test result will be out. With so much confidence, your test result will be out, and you'll be printed and handed over to you. I'm like, okay. They didn't lie you, because when we got down to the arrival hall, because there was someone else after you're done with your test saying, hey, so you go down to the arrival hall. So this arrival hall was filled with a lot of people, obviously waiting, because that now takes you through to immigration. So the immigration process, I would say that it was fast. Outside of the fact there was a queue, of course, like, there were a lot of people, so there had to be a queue, but it was pretty organized. Social distancing was practiced there, I must say. More importantly, I didn't need to stress with playing the baby card. The moment they saw that I was with the baby coming down, they directed me to where mothers and folks who needed support, I want to say like the people who are kind of sick, but I don't want to say sick, but you know what I mean, anyone who needs some form of support. So they directed us there. That was amazing. So there was a chair, we could sit, we could make food for baby, we could just chill. for like 2 minutes or thereabouts, and then it was our turn to go through immigration. Immigration took roughly maybe 5-10 minutes. I'd say maybe because we're three. If it was one person, definitely would be shorter, especially if you filled the, what is that? The migration, is it a migration card? The card you fill just before you enter into Ghana, or if you're leaving. So it's like an arrival / departure card that is for their own immigration as well. So if you feel that, or if prior, because they'll give that to you on the plane. So that was pretty, like I filled everything on the plane. I filled for everyone. So that was pretty straightforward. It was just like the capturing, you know, the usuals, right? Biometrics and whatnot. So that took a bit of some time, but not too long, considering. So after that, the next thing was basically to get our luggage, because the way the process was run, forget about your bags. Like you'd forget you came with bags. It was a lot. The process was a lot. But I understand that, and I appreciate that they are taking such measures to protect their people. It's so, I love it. Yeah, I love it. So, but it was just a lot. So the whole process was double or triple the flight time to get to Ghana. So we got to Ghana maybe like past 9 or 9:30, just before 10. I was at that airport till 12 midnight Ghana time. So I spent more than 2 hours in that airport. So getting to immigration, we finished as I said, and then we moved to the exit place after we got our luggage right there. So we got our luggage, and then we moved to the exit point, which was like, finally we're at like the finish line. And then they checked for my husband's COVID test. We shared our passports. Obviously, babies don't take COVID tests, so it's just both of us, right? So they checked for his, it came out immediately, they printed it, it was negative, of course. They checked for mine, and they said it's not ready. I was just like, why it's not ready? We did it at the same time. What's going on? What's the problem? So it's not ready, ma'am. Please, sit and we'll let you know when it's ready. I sat for more than 45 minutes, if not an hour actually, waiting. My result wasn't out. So the consolation there was that, I wasn't the only one waiting. You were a couple of people. And then it started to get scary when everyone had now left. It was just my own that was still not ready. I was like, why? Why is my own not ready? Why? Eventually, another angel, because all these people I'm calling angels, they went out of their way, or they just, from the kindness of their heart. It's so hard to find good people these days. So I guess we are now used to, we have sort of, and this is a bad thing, we've sort of normalized bad behavior. So when someone does some sort of kind gesture, we over appreciate, but I will continue to over appreciate, so they continue to be kind, right? Because we need more kind people in the world. And then this angel comes to my husband and then says, hey, are you XYZ? Are you waiting for your wife's results? And then he took my information, and they came back maybe like 15 minutes later to say it was ready. So legit, if you look around like this, everybody empty, gone, scattered. It was just us with my baby. At this point, I wasn't even sleepy. I was famished. I was still, man, why my results was super delayed. I mean, just imagine the thoughts that would run through your mind if you were in my shoes, like, okay, what's going on with my results? Did they discover something? Like, all sorts of thoughts came through. And then my guy said, oh, your name was omitted. So casually. And I said, I didn't have feelings. I was too tired to feel anything. All I could do was echo what he said. My name was omitted. And then he said, yeah, we apologize for that. And I just said, okay, but it's ready now. I said, yes. And I'm like, thank you. And I just moved. Like, I trust me, you wouldn't have the energy to even make noise. Like, how can my name be omitted? After we wait, just forget about it and just be grateful that it's over. We were just so happy. We got to the exit point, saw that the car service folks were out there, so on point. Our names were just there. And I was just so happy that we didn't have to go through another stress of looking for them or having to call anyone. Like, yeah, that just really made my night. So So that summarizes my entire experience, if I could say that, right? It was a pretty interesting one to me. Interesting, not in like the best way. It was mixed, good and bad experiences, and just because it was my first trip out of the country since like post pregnancy, post baby, and then first time ever traveling with my son, ever traveling like out of the country, that is, because we've gone to Abuja like twice, I think, but like this is real. And then traveling during COVID times, and then the whole little COVID scare of what's going on with my test results. I was thinking of such, you guys. If you haven't subscribed and you stuck to the end of this video, how far? Just help me hit that button, thank you. Hit the subscribe button, and I will see you in my next video. In the meantime, please stay safe. COVID is so real. Stay safe and take good care. Bye.